Alright, and I'm gonna level with you. I had one hell of a scare with this car. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Yes, it's the end of the year lull, but I don't give a damn. It's assholes and elbows up in here, so let's get right into it. All right, guys, so last time you saw Project Frostbite, it didn't quite look like this. That's because I stopped filming it because you guys didn't watch it, and I needed to get something done. As you can see, we got a lot done. It's crazy because the amount of work it took to get to this point sure doesn't look like it. But when you got to find everything, it really does. Not an exaggeration. All right, guys, so just to get you up to speed on everything. So as you can see, you got upper intake on. Had to find throttle body, EGR spacer. Had to do all the vacuum. Got the dryer on, distributors in. It's not timed yet, obviously, because we hadn't started it. Got everything over here. I had to make a few fixes over here, but everything is hooked up and ready to go there. We had to get find the whole starter ground harness, get that on. It's been a freaking process, but we're getting close. And I mean really close. One thing I'm gonna touch on for just a second is the difference between trying to reuse, recycle parts and just buying new. You know, there's a lot of money involved when you go to, you know, like LMR or wherever and buy something new. But I'm gonna explain a little something to you that might change your mind as far as saying, screw it, let's just go ahead and buy it new. So if you look at something as simple as bolting on the throttle body and EGR spacer, not really a big deal. But when I tell you that whole process took 2.5, almost 3 hours to do, gives you just a little bit of a reason why I just soon buy it new. I did it this way because I wanted to do it this way, but you guys know these things get seized onto the studs and the intake and don't want to come off. So after trying 3 different intakes, we finally got it off. Well then, you know, your studs, and the reason they get corroded and seized up on there is because the coolant lines run through your EGR spacer. So it took another 40 minutes or so putting heat to get the studs out. Then you have to clean the studs, then you have to clean the EGR spacer and throttle body faces, then the other side of the EGR spacer and the intake spacer, and then put it all together. So buying new or reusing old parts depends on how much time you want to take. So there you go, guys. Be that as it may, we're still doing it kind of the old-fashioned way, which I like. Able to reuse a lot of the pre-molded vacuum lines, which was cool. Had a couple of minor changes we had to fix on the harness, but again, not a big deal. This thing is real close, and I'm very excited. If you guys remember, when we started this, there was nothing but some brake lines in this engine bay, and it came with nothing. So every bit of this came from another car, and doing it from nothing, it's a job. And I'm gonna level with you, I had one hell of a scare with this car. And I didn't know what I was gonna do because I was about fed up. But let me kind of break all this down for you. So right here, in the brand new carpet, I kept noticing that the floor was damp. And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what is the deal? What is going on? Now, I had just put in the new quarter windows and was kind of worried that the quarter windows were leaking. So took it all back apart and redid the quarter windows just to be sure. And I didn't see any evidence in here of leaking. But anyway, stripped all the butyl off again, put new butyl on again, put them back in. I was like, all right, we're good. Came back out a few days later after it had rained, wet. So at that point, I didn't know what I was dealing with. I knew the quarter windows were sealed up. And so at that point, I'm wondering, is there something in the structure? You know, what is it? Because all the door to bottom, everything's new on this car. And I was upset. I took a lot of time and effort to get this interior in the car, and the last thing I wanted to do was pull it back apart and go 2 steps, 3 steps back again. So what I did is I had the car outside and I washed it, sprayed it down real good, and just, you know, kind of cleaned it up, knocked the dust off of it. And what I found was I had water running right here, and then it would drip down the seat. I was like, what? And well, the first thing was I was super glad it wasn't coming from the quarter glasses, but my next thing is like, what in the hell is going on? So anyway, long story short was the seal on the back glass, for whatever reason, was leaking. Now, I've never, in every car I've ever owned, I've never once experienced this, but obviously it can be an issue, and you'll be chasing your tail if you haven't experienced it like I was. But luckily, the same guy that does our windshields and put the windshield in this car, he came out and pulled the back glass out, which you got to understand, you can't buy these anymore. So, you know, that's stressful in and of itself. And totally resealed it, put everything back together. Still got the tape on it, which I'm just gonna make sure it's dry, so I'm just gonna leave that in there. So we're good to go. And like I said, I was sweating. I didn't know, you know, I knew the quarter glasses were sealed up good. Done it a million times, and so, you know, I was wondering if there was something structural that was leaking. I didn't know, but luckily that's all it was, and that's fixed. All right, boys, quick update on George's car. I know you haven't seen it on all fours in quite a while. It's been over at Steve's Fab Shop, and just kind of show you what he did. We got a flush mount fuel cell in the trunk. Sorry, we've been working a little bit. Let me move this out of the way. But yeah, flush mount fuel cell in the trunk, which is absolutely, I love it. I think Dover's actually planning on doing the same thing to his car. But one of the cool things about doing it this way is the tank is not going to hang below the bumper. So you're not even going to see that. Which is actually pretty cool. And yeah, this thing is narrowed and mini tubbed on coilovers. Pretty freaking badass. So while I'm doing frostbite, Dover's back over here slogging away under the dash, the worst part ever, getting all the wiring done. Yeah, fun times. But this car is badass, guys. That's a Hanlon T56 Magnum. It's got the Maximum Motorsports roll cage. I think it's Maximum Motorsports. Got the removable door bars and all that. Fully dyno-matted. And then Gen 2 Coyote. 2600 VMP. Yeah, she's gonna be bad. Probably gonna fire this thing up for too long. Just gotta run some fuel lines, a few other odds and ends. All right, guys, next on the docket, if you caught the last video, we went down to HPR and picked up my fuel system. If you didn't see that, we've got the 4 triple pump system, -10 feed, -8 return, and then got the big get her done UPR catch can. Whew, she's so pretty. I think, nah, I must have put it away. But anyway, that's the 03 Cobra style tank from year one that accepts all the Fox filler neck stuff, which is a beautiful thing. Got my plugs from Ken. Brente put those in yesterday while I was doing frostbite things. I got the injectors. Then here's all the rest of the fuel system. So there's the controller there, which is pretty sweet. And then also, being a triple pump system, Ken recommended we go ahead and run the Hobbs switch. That way we can kick on the pumps as needed. And, you know, obviously no reason to be burning 3 pumps all the time just during regular driving. This system's super nice, guys. It's extremely pricey, but is what it is. You know, you got to pay to play. But got all the fittings. I mean, everything's here. There's my regulator. Super pumped. And then the next week or so, we should have the final piece of the puzzle, and you guys aren't ready. This is this car, I'll use Ken's word, this car is going to be stupid, and he's not wrong. So hope you guys are ready. 2025 is the full return. All right, guys, so yeah, disaster averted again on Project Frostbite. But you know what? That just goes to show you that building cars will bite you in the ass every single time. And like I said, the thought of ripping that interior apart again, because I took the time to make sure every right screw, I bought the kit, you know, it took a long time. It takes a while to put an interior together right, and the thought of ripping it back apart again, man, I'm gonna tell you, that was not appealing. But luckily figured it out and got the back window resealed, and we're good. So the last part of it, like I said, buying new stuff as opposed to reusing old stuff. Now, that's pretty much part specific, because there's a lot of stuff you could easily reuse. A lot of the wiring, a lot of the hardware, little brackets, clips, stuff like that, 100% makes sense. But like I was using the throttle body installation as an example of what it can take to reuse that old stuff versus just putting new stuff on. There are definitely times it just makes sense to go ahead and spend the money and buy it new and be done with it. Luckily, we've got options like that. Luckily, we've got restoration parts like that, and you know, we can avoid that. But then again, when you're building a car from a shell, from nothing, there's no better way to do it than having one of those. Just a fact. All right, boys, that's pretty much gonna wrap this up. What a hell of a 2024 it's been. I'll have our Rewind 2024 video coming up. Stay tuned for that, always. I try to do one every year, and even though nobody watches it, I have fun doing it, because going back and looking at everything we did and everything we accomplished over 2024 or each year is amazing, because we get caught up and we forget sometimes. So guys, hope everybody has a happy new year. Be safe, don't do anything stupid, don't go to jail, anything like that, and make a choice right now that 2025 is your year to change your life. Make it better. Go do epic shit. We'll catch you on the next one.